In this presentation, we will be seeing about calcium homeostasis. So under this topic, essay questions, short essays or short answer questions also can be asked. So look at the first question. A patient who had undergone thyroid surgery had an inadvertent damage to the parathyroid glands, and under that, as sub-questions, they have asked to mention the normal blood calcium levels and to add a note on the significance of intracellular calcium, describe the physiological actions of parathyroid hormone, and to explain the mechanisms underlying the clinical signs of parathyroid hormone deficiency. Or the question can be hormones regulating calcium homeostasis. Let's go through the questions one by one. So the normal serum calcium level is 9 to 11 milligram per deciliter, and 50% of it is ionized calcium, 41% is bound to plasma proteins, and 9% is complex to anions. This 50% ionized calcium is responsible for most of the physiological actions of calcium. Next is the significance of intracellular calcium. It helps in the contraction of skeletal, cardiac and smooth muscles. It helps in the transmission of nerve impulses. It acts as a vital second messenger. It helps in the release of hormones and neurotransmitters, and also helps in the formation of bone and teeth. In addition, the other functions include it acts as an essential factor for blood clotting. Now the next question is to describe the physiological actions of parathyroid hormone. The parathyroid hormone PTH is secreted by the chief cells of the parathyroid gland. It controls the extracellular calcium concentration, and it is mediated by the CAMP second messenger mechanism. And the physiological actions of PTH includes it helps in the exchange of calcium between the extracellular fluid and the bone, renal reabsorption of calcium, and the intestinal absorption of calcium, which is an indirect action. Now let us go through the action of parathyroid hormone on various target organs. First is the action on the bone. It increases the resorption of calcium from the bones. It occurs in two phases, the rapid phase and the slow phase. The rapid phase begins in minutes and increases progressively for several hours. It is due to the activation of already existing osteocytes. The slow phase takes several days to become fully developed, and it stimulates the proliferation of new osteoclasts and causes increased osteoclastic resorption of the bone. Next is action on the kidney. PTH increases the renal tubular reabsorption of calcium. Also, it increases the formation of 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol or calcitriol from vitamin D. So this calcitriol increases intestinal absorption of calcium. In the intestine, PTH has an indirect action. It enhances calcium absorption from the intestine by increasing the formation of 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol or calcitriol from vitamin D in the kidneys. You can represent the parathyroid hormone actions in the form of a flowchart. When there is decreased plasma calcium levels, there is increased secretion of parathyroid hormone, and this acts on the bone to cause increased bone resorption, which leads to release of calcium into the plasma and restores the plasma calcium levels towards normal. The parathyroid hormone acts on the kidneys to cause increased calcium reabsorption, and this decreases the urinary excretion of calcium, and this restores the plasma calcium levels towards normal. Also, the parathyroid hormone increases the formation of calcitriol in the kidney, and this calcitriol acts on the intestine to cause increased calcium absorption, leading to the restoration of plasma calcium levels towards normal. Next question is to explain the mechanisms underlying the two clinical signs of parathyroid hormone deficiency. First, let us look at the clinical signs. First is the carpopedal spasm, or the Trousseau sign is a spasm of the muscles of the upper extremity muscles that causes flexion of the wrist and the thumb with extension of the fingers, produced by occluding the circulation for a few minutes with the help of a sphygmomanometer cuff. Next is the Shostak sign. It is the contraction of the ipsilateral facial muscles which is elicited by tapping over the facial nerve at the angle of the jaw. Now, what is the mechanism underlying these clinical signs? When there is an inadvertent parathyroid gland removal, there is hypoparathyroidism leading to hypocalcemia. This hypocalcemia causes the nervous system to become progressively more excitable, which is because of the increased neuronal membrane permeability to sodium ions, which leads to easy initiation of action potentials. Also, in the peripheral nerve fibers, they start discharging spontaneously, and this leads to tetanic muscle contraction referred to as tetany. Next question is to explain the hormones regulating calcium homeostasis. Now, calcium homeostasis is due to the interplay of mainly three hormones, that is the parathyroid hormone, calcitonin, calcitriol, or the 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is the active form of vitamin D. And the target organs are the bone, kidney, and intestine. Now, we have already seen about the parathyroid hormone. Next, we will see about the calcitonin and the calcitriol. Now, coming to calcitonin, it is secreted by the parafollicular cells or the C cells in the thyroid gland. And the stimulus for the secretion is the increased extracellular fluid calcium concentration. And it decreases the plasma calcium concentration. The effects are opposite to that of the parathyroid hormone, but it is a weak mechanism. What calcitonin does is it decreases the bone resorption and it decreases the calcium reabsorption in the kidney, which increases the amount of calcium in the urine. Next, coming to 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is the active form of vitamin D. So, first let's look at the formation. In the presence of sunlight, 7-dehydrocholesterol is converted to pre-vitamin D3 and this is converted to cholecalciferol. This all occurs in the skin. In the liver, there is an enzyme 25-hydroxylase which converts this cholecalciferol to 25-hydroxycholecalciferol, which is further converted to 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol by the enzyme 1-alpha-hydroxylase present in the kidney. Next, coming to the actions of calcitriol, it increases the calcium absorption from the intestine by increasing calbindin. It facilitates the calcium reabsorption in the kidney via increased TRPV5 expression in the proximal tubules, and it increases the synthetic activity of osteoblasts in the bone, which is necessary for normal calcification of the matrix. Now you can depict the action of the three hormones on calcium homeostasis with the help of a flow chart. The normal blood calcium level is 9 to 11 mg per deciliter. When there is an increase in blood calcium level, the thyroid gland releases calcitonin. This calcitonin acts on the kidney and reduces calcium reabsorption. In the bone, it stimulates calcium deposition. Both these actions will cause the blood calcium to decline to the normal level. Now, when there is a decrease in blood calcium level, there is parathyroid hormone released from the parathyroid gland. The parathyroid hormone acts on the bone and increases the bone resorption, or it stimulates calcium release from the bone. It stimulates calcium reabsorption in the kidney. Also, it increases the calcitriol release from the kidney. This calcitriol acts on the intestine and increases the absorption of calcium. All these actions increase the blood calcium levels to normal level. Now about the effect of other hormones on calcium metabolism. Long-term steroid use causes osteoporosis. Growth hormone increases the excretion of calcium in the urine but also increases intestinal absorption of calcium. This effect may be greater than the effect on excretion with the resultant positive calcium balance. Thyroid hormones may cause hypercalcemia and hypercalciuria. Estrogens prevent osteoporosis by inhibiting the stimulatory effects of certain cytokines on osteoclasts. Insulin increases bone formation. Now about the applied aspects, rickets results from calcium deficiency caused by lack of vitamin D. Renal rickets occurs in chronic renal failure, where the damaged kidneys fail to form active form of vitamin D. Osteoporosis results from a diminished organic bone matrix. Osteomalacia or adult rickets is a result of steatorrhea, as vitamin D is fat soluble. So that's about it. Thank you.